more filling on this piece just to kind of get a couple of those pits that was in there and add a little bit more around where some of the stuff had cracked. And this is hardened up, taking a couple of days. It's also, I went a little thin. I think I should have shaved some more of the foam off and went thicker like I did on that panel. So when I do the sanding tonight, I may end up going down into the foam. So this, I may not actually get to fully shape this tonight. I may end up having to start shaping it down and then going back into re-mud in it so that it's hard again. So that first section of the video is pretty useless because, as I mentioned, I somehow screwed up and was taking pictures instead of actually recording video. I ended up, then as you can tell, I ended up sanding down a good majority of everything I'd already done on the rear just to get it lower so I could add more joint compound to try and get it where it needs to be at. I had a couple of spots in the front that needed to be redone as well, namely on the edges. A little too much buildup in some spots and not enough in others. So we'll get back at it today. Had to throw some plastic on the bikes the other day when I was doing the sanding. The bikes were basically completely covered in white, sheetrock dust. So, eek. So it's not perfect, but it's really, really close. And it has the shape that I want. So I think I'm ready for fiberglass. I think I'm gonna start doing fiberglass. Because the way I see it is, as of this moment, I'm okay with the shape. I'm happy with the shape. The only way that I'm changing this shape is if I start from scratch. So I'm gonna fiberglass it, and if it turns out like shit, then I start all over again. I think we're in a good position. It's probably gonna be the weekend before I get there. We do have we have another Cars and Coffee. We're taking the Charger for a trunk or treat. Ooh, he was getting it. So we're taking the Charger for a trunk or treat on Saturday. So Saturday night I'll be hopefully starting this. I do have some tools coming in. And one thing that I've never really had on hand for doing fiberglass work has been a actual like roller for getting the air bubbles out. I've always just been very persistent with a brush. So I'm gonna have one of those on hand just to kind of help. The shapes that I have here, I don't think I'm gonna need that kind of tool really, because I'm not really getting, maybe along this edge I might have to have it. But yep, I think we're fixing to get going on it. So I feel like the fiberglass is going to be a more in-depth section of video. I can't really say in-depth, but there's going to be a lot more to see, I think, whenever I get to that point, because I plan to lay it out, obviously resin it and everything, and then I'm going to be using, or pre-drilling and setting up Cleco fasteners, just so that after I pull everything back off and I knock all the mold and everything off the plug, and I trim the start trimming the fiberglass, it's going to take a couple of passes to get the trim where I need it to be at. Those Cleco fasteners will be able to just pop the panel right back to where it was essentially, and once it's kind of holding it there and I know that's the spot, it looks good and it's been shaped right, I can start preparing the main body panels for actually doing the fiberglass attachment. I'm thinking I want to pull the panels off the car. Like this one I can do fairly easily. I can get this panel off without much effort, and then I can do the fiberglass like on a stand, and it won't be as much of a pain as trying to do it directly on the car. Because when I go to do what's underneath here, you know, I gotta cut excess off and then get in there and do my inner and my outer attachment. There's gonna be a lot more strength on the back side of it, because that's what I'll want to have the most access to, because you don't want to have a whole bunch of fill here, because you're gonna have to do all the sanding to get it off. So a lot of your reinforcement ends up being on the back, and I mean I could get up in there from underneath, but realistically having the panel off and having the back side of it's just the only way really to do it. So that panel, there's my camera selling, that panel I'm not so worried about. This one on the other hand is going to be a real pain in the ass if I try to take it off, because I don't have access to this right now to show you, but this panel kind of like sort of interlocks in a sense to where this sits here. So to get this panel off, there's a bunch of bolts down in here you got to take off. There's bolts from the inside that's got to be taken off. There's bolts in the trunk that got to be taken off. There's bolts that go to the bumper that's got to be taken off. And then you actually have to get behind a panel in here and actually get in. I have a picture I'll pop up showing. I went to take this panel off one time before and then abandoned ship because it was such a pain. But I had Lauren in the trunk because she was the one who had the tiny enough hands to get in here to actually try and remove the fastener to get this panel off. We got all the bolts and everything removed, and then ran into, there's a sealant that holds that in place, and it was like, you know what I'm trying to do, which at the time was doing a repair, is not worth this. So the cool thing is though, is I already know, because I've been in here before, that pretty much every spot that I need to get to secure this to the panel is accessible from within the wheel well. So except for maybe like right here on the front side of this, but I can get to the edge of it no problem, but further back I won't be able to really get there. But besides the point. See, I'm still torn if I should have made this flush all the way out, but I like the taper. That part's staying there anyways, so they had to be fine, because this part's just going to be the outer part of the vent. Never mind, scratch that. Anyways, so I should be able to secure this without as much effort as it would take to secure this from the inside. So, but luckily this unbolts fairly easily. There's a handful on the side sill, up and behind the door here, and then underneath the hood, and then just disconnecting the bumper. So doing this one shouldn't be as bad. But yeah, so back to the point is, I'm gonna end this video. This is gonna be the end of this video, and the next video I'll begin doing the fiberglass. So as always, like, subscribe, share, comment. I'm getting a little bit of attention from some people from this, a little bit of negative, but a lot of people are seem like they're pretty excited about seeing how this turns out. Me too, guys, me too. And like I said, after I make this first pass on the panels, if I decide I don't really like how it's looking, I'm gonna start from scratch again and do another method that I was kind of thinking about previously. But that's that. Check back for the next video.